Welcome back to Old Dogwood Lane. It's almost the middle of September 2020. You know what that means. Time to test out a new yard. Anyone who watched my videos last year will say, yeah, this looks pretty familiar. I've got the area cleared from the driveway down past the Christmas tree, just like I did last year. A couple of months ago, I was having a problem with my grass. I went ahead and scalped it, aerated it, and scalped it. In other words, I pretty much got rid of everything living in this yard. I've treated it with a lot of new topsoil, trying to level it out a little bit. And speaking of topsoil, let me tell you what. It's hard to get a delivery of anything less than 5 cubic yards in my area. And 5 cubic yards doesn't sound like much, but trust me, if you're an old man, this is like the loaves and the fishes. It seems like the more I shovel out of that pile, the bigger it grows. I haven't really done all the math, but I do know that there's 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. And so, I don't know how much a cubic foot of sand weighs, but I'm guessing that there are thousands of shovels full in this pile. I lost count. I've got a little utility trailer, a little dump trailer I put on the back of my lawn tractor. And with the back removed from it so I could dump easily, I was putting anywhere from 45 to 50 shovelfuls into that trailer. And it's taken me 2 weeks to knock down that pile, probably 75%. So it's a lot of work. You might, if you have plans to put out 5 yards of dirt in your yard, you might want to consider renting some sort of heavy equipment to get the job done. Otherwise, it's really good exercise. All right, let's talk about how we're going to start here. Even though I don't have any noticeable growth in the yard, I went ahead and pre-treated this with tenacity about 10 days ago. It's turned my crabgrass white. It's pretty much taken care of the crabgrass problem in my test area. But I do have a lot of leaves. For some reason, this one tree here loses its leaves early. In fact, the cherry tree over there lost its leaves by the end of August. And this, I'm not sure what kind of tree it is. Somebody said it was an elm. It's not an oak tree, but it starts losing its leaves early in September. And even though I blew these leaves last weekend, you can see that today, 7 days later, it's pretty well covered with leaves. I'm going to go ahead and blow these up with an electric leaf blower, and then I'm going to aerate, core aerate. It probably wouldn't matter if I left the leaves there to do a core aeration, but after I core aerate, I kind of like to go over it with a spike aerator. And my spike aerator tends to get clogged up with leaves if I don't take them up. You know, I'll collect so many leaves after just 4 or 5 passes that the spikes are not even going into the ground anymore, and it is really hard to get those leaves out of those spikes. You got to dig with a garden rake to get them out of there. All right, so first step. Let's clean these leaves off so we can see what we're dealing with. That didn't take too long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Those leaves were easy to blow. They're small and they were dry. So I got this pretty well cleaned up. So we're going to start the aeration process now. But before I do that, I want to tell you about Pythium, Pythium. Let me show you a product. You might recall last summer, I was shocked when in late June, mid-July, my Jonathan Green Black Beauty Ultra Supreme yard just totally disappeared. I mean, it happened in about less than 10 days time. It went from lush to flush. And I had several people come out and they checked for brown spot and other things, grubs. They couldn't find a problem, so we just wrote it off as extreme hot and humid weather. And I had a lot of perennial rye in the mixture. But since I've done a little more research, I do recall seeing something on my yard that at first looked like spider webs early in the morning. But then, after we've had some rain, it started to look like dryer lint. And I've later found out that was probably a fungus or some sort of ugly stuff called Pythium. And you can't just use regular old fungus killer to treat it. It requires something special. You'll have to go online and look up Pythium, Pythium, and see what types of chemicals can be used to treat that and which ones are available to be purchased by the public. I bought some Subdue Max from Amazon, and this stuff's expensive. You're looking at $200 for a quart. That sounds like a crazy price, but I talked to one of the local lawn guys. He said he would charge about $90 to $100 to do a one-time treatment for Pythium. And you know, it takes 1 ounce of Subdue Max per 1,000 square feet of yard, and I wanted to treat 5,000 square feet. That's only 5 ounces. So, you know, I can get 6 treatments for the $200 instead of 2 treatments, paying somebody else to do it for $200 twice. There is something about Pythium getting immunity to herbicides, and that's why they recommend you only put this down twice a year. But the yard guy I talked to the other day said that, oh, they would just put half a dose down 4 times a year and not violate the label. Well, I say the label, I haven't even read the label on this. It may have been a similar product. But to me, that didn't make sense, because if getting immunity to a product is the issue, it seems to me that if you reduce the dosage, you're just encouraging immunity. I could be wrong about that, but anyhow, this is what I put on my yard, Subdue Max, 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet. I've got several pump-up sprayers. I've got 1 gallon and 2 gallons. I think I even have a 3-gallon pump-up sprayer. The problem is, over the years, I've put Roundup in every one of them. And, you know, I keep saying, well, I'm going to use this for my Roundup thing, and then I end up buying a new one and putting Roundup in that. Anyhow, every one of my sprayers has had Roundup in it, and I didn't want to take a chance on any residual getting on this yard I'm about ready to plant. So I used a Ortho Dial and spray. You can get them for $10 at any of your home improvement stores, Walmart, places like that. It's real easy to use. You can go on YouTube and they'll give you a bunch of complicated formulas on how to dial this thing. Look, what I do, let's say I want to do 1,000 square feet. I would put some water in here, add 1 ounce of the product, and then I'd fill the reservoir all the way up with water, shake it up. That way I knew I had 1 ounce of product in the reservoir, and then I would just spray a 10 by by 100 foot area or a 20 by 50 foot area. And I would keep going back and forth till the container was empty. You can interpolate that, you know, if you want to do 2,000 square feet at one time, you can put 2 ounces in there, fill it up with water, and do a 20 by 100 or, you know, 40 by 50. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to, the only time you move this around is just see if it's coming out the way that's comfortable for you to walk around and cover the area you're spraying. What really matters is how much of the chemical you put down per 1,000 square feet. Hope that makes sense. But with this, you can't hardly go wrong, and it's really fast. I want to show you this little core aerator I bought at Lowe's probably 10 years ago. It wasn't very expensive. It did require a little bit of assembly. But the important thing, if you buy one of these deals, when you're done with using it, take a screwdriver or something and clean all these spikes out. If you let it sit up for 6 or 8 months, the dirt that's caught inside there turns into concrete, and it's really hard to get it out. So, you know, while it's still loose, go ahead and take a screwdriver, knock it clean, and then take a hose or something and spray them all out. When you don't have the cinder blocks on there, it's very lightweight. You can turn it upside down and work on it or whatever. So that's my tip for the day about a home-owned core aerator. Other than that, it does a really good job. I'm going to finish going this direction, and then I'll go crisscross pattern. And then I might just go ahead and put the spike aerator out on top of it too. We'll see. Well, step one of the aeration is done. That was a lot of fun. Except when I drove out on the paved road, for some reason, it made my aerator jump up and down so high that one of the cinder blocks flew out of it. It's kind of weird that it doesn't do that on the ground. I guess when you're on something hard like that, a hard surface, you really see how even those spikes are set up. Yeah, that was a wild 5 or 6 seconds. Look, I was going to slit seed this seed I bought, Southern Perfection seed, but it looks like I've got my yard so ripped up now, I may not have to slit seed. I mean, we had a lot of rain last week, so I'm thinking what I'll do is just go ahead and sow the seed, and then I'll put a little spike aerator on the back of my tractor and run over it with that, see how it looks, get me a garden rake, a leaf rake, and lightly go over this and see if I can't cover up all the seed without having to waste one of those blades on my Sunjoe Scarfire. Those things are expensive now and they're hard to get. I ordered one back in August the 8th, and this is, I believe, September 13th, and it hasn't gotten here yet. I've got a brand new one in there, but I don't want to use it if I don't have to. But anyhow, I'll put the seed out, spike it, see how it looks. And if I can't rake it in, then I'll go ahead and hook up the blades to my Sunjoe, and we'll just go ahead and splice seed it. But I believe this might be an easier way to do it today.